I have here the original Star Trek phaser, and it isn't working. I already took it apart to see what the problem was, and decided I'd go ahead and report it. You guys can help somebody else with this. So one of the things was this switch was jammed. It wouldn't move. It was sticking really bad. I'll show you what I did to grease that. Another thing is the trigger. You can see how loose it is. It isn't connecting. The components inside are working just fine. This plastic piece, the trigger, isn't making contact because it's loose. And the light bulb inside is broke. Looks like an old flashlight bulb. Not the new ones they make. The new ones now are longer, and it won't fit inside this phaser. It has to be this size or shorter for it to work. So first I'm going to take this thing apart. Alright, I got this apart. This is what it looks like inside. There were actually 7 screws. I want to show you the last one that I had to take out. I left it in part ways so that you could see where it was at. It's down here. This just screws off. And then there's a screw right here that you have to take out. The screw holds this piece of glass, which is actually plastic. It's a piece of plastic in the front. And the bulb goes in behind it, see? And the bulb goes right in here. It screws into this little black piece. A little trick if you want to remember how to put this back together. Take a lot of pictures. Alright, take a lot of pictures so that if you forget how to put it back together, you have pictures to refer to. Alright, so that's what that looks like. Now this is the switch that was sticking right here. And I just simply, I went in here, I took this all out, I pulled it all out, and I put some grease in there. And I'm using piano grease with graphite. You can use any kind of grease that you have on hand. Anything will work. I just happen to have piano grease, so that's what I'm using. If you don't have grease, if you have petroleum jelly, that will work too. You just take a little sharp instrument of some kind, get the grease on there, and you go ahead and put it in the joints that move. Anything that moves needs to be greased. Okay? And that fixed that from sticking. That's all I did with that. Now for the light, I'm going to go ahead and take this out. And the light goes in here. Now I did find a flashlight bulb, an old type. It's the right length, and it's white. I have a 2.5 volt, 0.3 watt. I'm guessing that that's going to be the right size. I also went ahead and bought this because it's blue. It's a different kind of bulb. It's an E10 if you're looking for a bulb. Flashlight bulbs are E10. All that is the screw size, and that's what you're looking for, is the screw size. And then you want to make sure that the entire bulb isn't too long for this little unit. And this is a little bit shorter than an inch, so I think it will work. And I picked this up because it's blue, and I want to see what it looks like. If it doesn't work, then I'll go ahead and put in that old flashlight bulb that I have. So this just screws right into there. Right. There we go. Put that back in. What happens is, of course, the end of the bulb here is going to have to make contact with this, and there's a switch on this other side, which I'll show you here. Right, this switch will turn it on, turn the light on, or turn it off. That's what that little unit's for. And this wasn't sticking at all. This is working real well, so I didn't do anything to it. Right. Doesn't look like there's anything wrong with this little plastic trigger. However, where it goes into the phaser, I can see that that plastic right here is worn off. Right here, and I put a little black mark so I can see where I have to build it up. And over here, put a little black mark where I have to build it up. Okay. And I can tell from this side, this isn't wore down at all. And that's what this should look like on this piece. It should look more like this. I won't be able to get it to look exactly like this, of course. This is a mold. But I need to get it good enough to where this isn't moving around too much. Because this little plastic piece, when you pull the trigger, it needs to make contact with this little piece right here. You hear that? You can see that? When you pull the trigger, it touches this right here. See if I can do this without looking. There we go. It has a little ring around here that goes in between this little groove, and I don't want to block that at all. It's real small. It only gives you room to push this a little bit, and that's all you should need. Is you should be able to push that trigger just a little tiny bit, and it makes contact. But if it's moving around too much, it doesn't hit it in the right spot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make some plastic, something that I learned watching a YouTube channel. Put a little bit of super glue on there, and then you take baking soda and you sprinkle it on the super glue, and that builds up plastic. And it's actually stronger than regular plastic. Alright, so I don't know if I build up too much, if it's hard to get off or not, so I'm going to try to be real careful and do a little bit at a time. So I'm probably not going to show all of it because that'll be too long and unnecessary. But for demonstration's sake, I have some super glue. And you don't have to cut the tip, but I do have to poke the end. Open this up. That's not the end of the poke it. Does it do it automatically? See, I don't want to get this on my hands. I usually glue my hands together when I play with this stuff. I tell you, that's why I buy the little tubes. I know they have covers, they come with covers, but I've never been able to use it twice, ever. So maybe I'm doing something wrong, but I've never been able to use one of these twice. I use it once, and then if I put the cover on, that cover gets glued on and it never comes off, so I don't understand. Maybe you can explain that to me, what I'm doing wrong. Just make sure that it's coming out. Yeah, okay, now I don't want to overdo it. So I'm going to put a little bit on where I marked it. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and sprinkle on baking soda. There we go. All right. Well, I'm going to go ahead and do this, and then I'm going to see if that trigger fits. So wish me luck. Check back with me. So here it is. The phaser is finished. I put it back together. The blue bulb didn't fit, so I went ahead and put the white bulb in there. First time I put it back together, the trigger was too tight, so I had to take it apart, and I went in there with the sandpaper and I sanded down the plastic that I made so that the trigger would fit better. And that's how it sounds, and that's how it looks. This knob up here, I can turn that to get a different sound. And then I was showing you this during the instructions. This little light knob here, it turns the light on and off. So I like the light on. And let's see. I like that sound. So have that sound and that light. There you go. Alright, that's it. Hello again, this is Monty. Now that I have this put back together and working, I've decided that I want to paint it. So I'm going to go ahead and get out my airbrush and I'm going to paint the parts black that are black, the parts gray that are gray, and then there's some silver parts that I'm going to have to paint silver also. So I'm going to take this thing apart again, I'm going to tape it off, and then I'm going to use my airbrush and I'm going to go ahead and paint this. And then I'll show you what it looks like when I'm finished. Alright? Check in again. See you later. Hello, I'm back. I want to show you how far I got with my phaser. I painted some of the gray areas and I used a metallic gunmetal gray. And you can kind of see how it sparkles here. And I like that look. Alright, that's one side. And here you can see the other side now. Alright, it's looking good so far. Used my airbrush, and it was the first time I've ever used an airbrush. And it worked out real well, I thought. I learned a lot the hard way, but it really wasn't that difficult. Next, I'm going to paint the black areas of the gun, and there's more pieces that are black. For example, the battery cover, and there's other little parts that have black on them. So that's the next step, and then I'll come back and I'll show you how far I got and how it looks. Alright, thanks for watching. Hello, I'm back. I went ahead and did some more painting on the phaser, see? Painted it black, and then I used some silver, the silver parts. I'm not real happy with the silver. I used bright sterling silver, and it doesn't look much different than the metallic gunmetal gray. You know, I can't really see that big of a difference. It'll do for now, but I went ahead and ordered some silver. I ordered a acrylic Vallejo model color, and if it looks better, I'm going to go ahead and repaint the silver parts one of these days. But for now, I think that it looks good. I'm real happy with it. Here's the other piece. As you can see. And I haven't painted all the other little pieces. And I put 2 coats of sealer on everything. Alright, let's put that speaker back in there. So that's how it looks finished. Now I went ahead and put some paint on this part to make the light look a little bit red. I didn't have any watercolor paint, and I think that would have worked better, so I used acrylic paint and I sealed it twice. So hopefully it won't get too dry and crack and I'll break out of there. If it does, I'll buy some watercolor paints and do it right. But for now, I think that's going to work. It's not like I'm going to be playing with this all the time, so it should be fine. So now I'm going to put it back together and then I'll show you what it looks like. Here it is finished. We can take a look at that. Fixed and painted. You see the top. Went ahead and painted this little red button here also. So overall, I'm very pleased with this project. I hope you got something out of this film. Until next time, take care. Beam me up, Scotty.